There we are. Steve Domenico in the Room podcast, episode 30. You know, I have tons and tons of episodes, but this year, 2020, I decided to number them. So we're going as 2020, episode 13 in the Room podcast with a very special guest. I have Kevin McDonald on tonight, going to talk us through a little bit of the chaos that's going on out there in MMA. He probably doesn't know much more than we do as far as what cards are going to take place, but he can talk to us about a little insight, what he thinks might be going through, the promotions are going through, camps going through, gyms going through, and get his take on the sport we all love and tune into the show to find out about. So, Kevin, thanks for coming on, man. You are like the only one that would come on with me that's in quarantine and has a minute to get away from the family driving them crazy. How you doing? How you doing through all this, bro?
I was all set to drive down just to get out of this house.
but we couldn't let that happen. I mean, you and I could be infected, and then this whole building becomes infected, and then you and I are live infecting the whole area of Johnston, Rhode Island. So I don't think we have any cases in Johnston, Rhode Island. How about in your area? Not to frighten folks out of wherever the hell you are, but any cases around your neck of the woods?
Yeah, so I'm on the fire department in Watertown, and at this point in our town, my last shift 2 days ago, we had, I believe it was 2 confirmed and 1 possible. We're waiting to hear back, but it was 1 person, pretty obvious, and then their wife, surprise, they got it. But then we're waiting to hear on something else. But no details other than that.
Now, when you say obvious, like confirmed, what is going on with this person at the obvious stage of this due to woman, this gentleman or a woman have something?
From all I heard was guy basically was in a bad area, got off the plane and was like, hey, and they're like, yup. So then he went home to self quarantine, and wife's like, all right,
that's it. So it's kind of me. I haven't. It's not a realization yet, except for like missing MMA, and that's kind of affecting my everyday work, everyday life. Work hasn't changed. There's nothing changing at work. I mean, I don't go to the grocery store anyway. I've been going for like cat food and stuff like that in case I have to fatten them up and eat them down the line. But other than that, I haven't been affected other than other people talking about it and get me a little worried about it. Do you think that, go ahead.
So I'm friends with a lot of the officials over in the UK, and, they've got people throughout Europe. And the thing that was always creeping me out is they keep talking about how we're like 10 days behind Italy and like 3 days ahead of the UK. So it's like as Italy started, ramping things up, going up exponentially each day, and we're still at this point, I think, like 8 days behind that. That's where I think, it's like, okay, is this going to get real, or is this, my wife's a nurse manager at a big hospital in downtown Boston, so she's on the front lines as well, and it's everything that I'm hearing is it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Now, like is there possible cases in your eyes that people have already had it and got through it and just didn't know they had it at one point? You think it's been here a while?
Of course. I mean, you never know with this kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, how many people do you know that over the last, 6 or 8 months, they were like down and out, like, oh, I never get sick, or I whatever, it doesn't feel like the flu, but like, who knows? There's so many different things that could have run through and could have been a carrier and then not, and then like it's invisible.
So, not to panic, do you think it's going to get worse than before it gets better?
I mean, Yes, but I'm also one of these. I mean, I'm so far outside the realm, whether it's your conspiracies, whether it's your biblical plague, whether it's, your, bioweapon attack. Like, I'm on board for all three. Like, something crazy's happening, and it's been a matter of time. I don't know exactly what it is, but, we're about to have a shift.
Did you add aliens into that too, or aliens into that, Kevin? Did you mix that into that little group there?
No, I don't. My biblical side of thing kind of knocks off the aliens.
Christ. Damn it. If the aliens come down, brother, you're in trouble. Just like, people that are against Trump are not getting that $1,000 check. You know what I mean? They're going to remember you. They're watching you right now, brother. They all are. So, to the real serious things, MMA, dude. It's not your livelihood. Like you said, you work for the fire department. So you get an income and what's going on. You love MMA and it's something that you do. And, it's another job of yours. What are you thinking of this as far as, what it's doing to MMA? I mean, are people just more concerned with the virus so they're, kind of separating that self and not so angry and bitter about it because there's other things to worry about than watching MMA right now?
Well, we've always been a small part of the market. And, even as big as it's gotten, I mean, you look at the last UFC, like it had some of the lowest numbers in history on ESPN. And you figure that the only sporting event that was on ESPN for like 3 days or something, I mean, yeah, given it was in the middle of out and get your toilet paper because we're going to shut everything down. But still, it was, on the big ESPN, the only live sporting event to happen. And then I saw reports that was, very low numbers. We've always been a small demographic outside of certain fights. And so when you look at that, it's tough because being sanctioned by state government, which is what MMA is. Once we went legit and decided to start sanction, that puts a whole nother wrap on things. Because if you think about it, you really can't have any fights in the U.S. until you have a state government say, hey, you know what, we're good to go. And when you look at the fact, whether it was the days we were trying to get sanctioned, whether it was the, getting the rule set changed that has to go through the legislature, like combat sports is not traditionally high up on the importance lists, especially when we're dealing with something like this. So that's my biggest fear for the sport is not only do we have to wait for all this to calm down, but we have to wait for this to calm down and the state, because how many commissions are overseen or fall under, Department of Public Safety, Department of Licensing, and this is all stuff that is all getting greatly pushed back. Like I'm supposed to have a physical next week, and that's my yearly physical, and that's what I do, to get my license. That's getting pushed back. Different licenses for different commissions that I have, they require that physical, like all that kind of stuff. Now, if you look at it just on a state level, like Rhode Island, it's all under licensing. So whether those licensees, I mean, because I think with Rhode Island, I think it's like gambling, real estate, combat sports, and like liquor or something crazy like that. So this whole backlog, like at what point when these workers are going home, like everything gets pushed to the back of the line. That's where I think the biggest delay is going to be.
Exactly. And will be the last ones, not only for MMA, but at the regional level here. I mean, we'll be the last ones. And that's where, you have a lot of the problems in the regional level as far as commissions and stuff. So there might be delays there with who wants to pull the trigger, getting on the same page and stuff like that. As far as the UFC and Bellator canceling on Friday, and was it UFC that had the card on Saturday night? Was it? So what was the difference in there? Why did Bellator have to pull the plug on Friday, or was that something in New England or something with the Mohegan Sun Commission there that shut that down last minute?
So all I know is pretty much, what Scott Coker put out. And that was they were all set to do the show, no fans, because whoever it was, the governor or whoever had said, like, no gatherings of more than like 100 people or 200 people or something like that. So from what I understood and what I read in the public statements, Bellator said, you know what, we're going to run the show. And we're going to, if we just bring the fighters in their corners and just the licensed folks and a couple of media, then we can do the show. We're not violating anything. We've got doctors there. All that seemed like it was good to go. And then I don't know whether it was getting shortened to just the main card. But then a couple of articles came out. And a couple of articles came out that were talking about how, MMA is the only sport that's not taken as serious, and that's why, it's always, And again, those kind of optics matter.
Yeah.
That was right when I was jumping in the car actually to head to Mohegan. And, Scott Coker decided, you know what, the upside is not worth the downside. And to his credit, he paid everybody. All of us officials got paid, from what I understand. The fighters, the ring announcers, the commentators, everybody. They said, you know what, this is a unique situation, let's do it. Now, when you look at what was going on down in Brazil with the UFC, obviously that's a different situation because everybody had already flown down. So I know officials that were working that show, and it was like an hour before their plane were taking off. I was in the fire station. They're texting me like, do I get on the plane?
Yeah.
It'd be a long trip in Brazil. But they all had, no problem, no anything like that. But talking to like some of the cut guys and all, from down there, like it was a very unique situation because from what I understand, just from talking to guys at the UFC, they were treating, and Cristiano with CAB MMA, the Brazilian Commission, he does a great job, and they were treating this very serious to where they knew the numbers of people, so they were basically walking people from across the street where the hotel was, like, to the arena, like, to not violate that, almost like your fight's done, good, get out, go across, see the doc, now go back to your room, now we can bring 2 other people over. And
bizarre. What do you think? I mean, not only the fighters dealing with fighting, they got to deal with all that stuff. I mean, they knew kind of, well, actually it was like a 24-hour thing or so. They knew like they can only have a limited amount of people in there. As far as your personal opinion, did you like the show, hearing no crowd, or what was your thoughts on that? I liked it personally. I could hear a lot of things, but what'd you like about? Did you like it? Not like it? What's your thoughts?
I liked it a lot. I mean, I love that it's so adaptable. I love that, even without all the circumstances, you could take any 2 guys that everybody wants to see fight, and you literally can put it wherever you want. And even though the dynamics and the theatrics and like that won't all be the same, it's still, at the end of the day, any 2 folks you want. And that's really the beginnings and the origins of this sport. Like, being in it from back in, the late 90s, where, cops heard that there's an event here, we got to shut this down, we got to go to another venue where nobody, and you didn't even have text messages then. It was just like, you call this page, and you get there, and, so, I mean, again, you can pop up and go. With the advent of, the state commissions, makes things a little bit tougher, but, who knows? I mean, there was always the talk of, like the fights on a battleship or on a barge. Like, that was always, everybody had the thing for the barge.
I said barge. I said a barge. Fucking just floating, man. You don't even need, I just floats out there. Just that thing. So,
yeah.
All right. So here we are, Kevin. The next 3 cards are canceled. What goes on with you as far as, I mean, how do you, how do you stay in the loop? How does the UFC keep you in the loop, because they're still trying to get that April 18th fight going with Khabib and Tony there. And, the way things are going, and, there's all these memes coming out. They're showing them on the moon. They're showing them, on a barge, on a cruise ship, on a fucking iceberg. I saw him on an iceberg. So, can this fight happen? Can this fight take place in another country? And we're still ways away from this fight that, things are changing minute with this virus. Right. Can this fight still go on? Or will, the UFC just say, man, we got to take our losses and shut it down? Or do you think they're going to get it done no matter what?
I mean, the purist in me from back in the day, from when you used to have to, if the cops showed up, you'd turn it into a boring grappling match, until the cops left, and then go back to throwing strike. Is you know what? You can make this happen. It's a matter, but they're also owned by a corporate entity now.
Yeah.
And those kind of folks don't take too kindly to what you're gonna be on an island. But I think it would be one of the highest rated, if you timed it right, last night, my son and I, one of my kids and I always go to the Dropkick Murphy show.
Yeah.
On St. Patrick's Day. And obviously we couldn't last night, and then I just clicked on 7 p.m. It was 160,000 people were watching the Dropkick Murphys.
And they're gonna watch it. They're gonna watch it again and again. It's gonna get over a million views just for an online band playing in New England. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I think when it comes to they've already got the platforms. Bellator streams on DAZN, UFC streams. They all, it's all there. It's all in the, and it's a matter of, how do you want to do it? I mean,
well, here's another question though, Kevin. As we get closer to these cards, these fighters are getting interrupted with their gym closings, with things all around them at their disposal that was there before. Things closing up, they can't. They might get stuff shipped in from another country, supplements, whatever. Protein, blah blah blah. So yeah. Fucking kangaroo meat, all that shit. So, they're missing out on a lot of stuff getting ready for these fights. So, I would imagine the fighters that actually have full-time jobs that don't have all the, the big paychecks and stuff like that, they might fall off a lot of these cards, along with some of these fighters that don't want to leave. They got to be with their family and stuff like that. I mean, the only ones on this card might be Khabib and fucking, and Tony. So, I mean, and this fight might take place on an iceberg or a barge or something like that, so.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and where everything plays out, because, like I said, I didn't know until I was en route to Mohegan that show was canceled. And, then started here, and I knew I had a couple of dates, coming up that have since been canceled. And, they're only canceled, I think, out through mid-March. I don't think the Lincoln, Nebraska show has officially made a call yet, but I mean, no one knows what's going to happen here. And it's if this is a giant inconvenience, that's one thing. If, come the second week of March, we're driving around in Toyota pickup trucks just shooting zombies and fucking gasoline and water.
Eating rats and shit like that.
We'll be caring about MMA.
Fucking starting our own plague in friggin' New England, eating fucking whatever moves. God. So, we got a lot of fighters here. We got these cards. There's cards, I think, that haven't been canceled yet. I don't know if Neff officially put out the word that their card is canceled. That's an April 18th card. I don't know what's going on in Maine. I don't know what's going on with that Muay Thai card, No Boundary, and up in Massachusetts there. I mean, these are all cards that they're not going to happen. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's going to trickle up all over. I mean, we got cases in Maine and stuff like that. It's all, what is this doing as far as in your eyes, or what can it do to the regional level MMA shows that, make, don't even make money doing this. A lot of them do it just out of passion and love. And now we got all this bullshit happening. These fighters losing their gyms, losing their, their main source of income. What do you think that's doing at the regional level as far as these young, the young fighters?
Well, at a regional level, I think you're looking at. I mean, on one hand, it's a giant pause button, but it's worldwide. So if you're that guy who, he's got maybe one or two more fights to decide if they're gonna try to hang it up, or if they win and go to the big show, that puts you in a unique situation. For other folks that maybe they got extra time to heal up, maybe they got extra time to. We all know on the local level what the paydays are.
Yeah. And
when you see, some folks that are like, this is how I eat, and it's like, you make what, $5,000 a year?
Hey, Kevin, wait. Hey, tilt your thing up. All I'm seeing is your eyes at this point. We need to see the, there you are. Good. Kevin's back. All right. So, yeah, like they're not making anything. These fighters are actually spending money to get to that cage. So they're investing in these bigger shows
the long run
that are not happening, right now. Yeah. So it's a stalemate. It's vital for a lot of these fighters that aren't going to get better, but no one is. You know what I mean? Nobody's getting better.
I wonder, what if this goes on? You know the people in this industry. The way things does it. Massachusetts back in 2002, they decided, we're going to sanction this sport, and then they were taking kickboxing licenses and crossing them out and writing MMA. And then after a year or two, they realized we don't have the authority to do this. So they just said, you know what, we're going to hold off on this. And 6 years later, we had, 7 promotions in the state, shows going every weekend. It was booming. And then they came back. And now we got, 2, 3? So that's what I'm, curious about is if this does go for a longer period of time, somebody's going to see an opportunity to make a buck.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Someone's going to get officials
in a Mexican wrestling mask. Not that I would ever do that, but you can reach me. No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. Facebook Messenger, people. But they're hacking out to that. All that porn going through there, man. I don't know how I'm going to erase all that shit. Fuck, they're all over me. So, oh my God, yeah. So, Kevin, I saw you make, because I troll everyone, but you made a comment or something about maybe you might not be working in MMA for 3 months. Do you think this is something that... It's April, man. 3 months is a long time. Do you think this is something that could go on until spring, until we get it, until we are allowed to get it going again? And what does that do? You have Cage Titans that a local promotion sold a lot of tickets. You got Don Shanis that lost basically three jobs. He lost his fighting job. He lost working at the gym, and he also lost his bartending job. So there's a fighter right there that loses all that, selling hundreds of tickets for a promotion. I don't know how much Mike loses on that, but I know the fighters lose a hell of a lot, and that kind of deters them. In the long run, I think about making fighting a career could turn them around and make them salty.
Yeah, the other thing is we don't know how bad this is going to get, and if this is 1 month, 2 months, and then we're all good, then this could be a hugely valuable lesson to folks. To hey, go all in, but have a backup plan. My wife and I are both blessed. We both have, those essential jobs. So, no matter those kind of things, whatever happens, like, we still got to go to work. Now, that also means that, there's other, downsides to that. But at the end of the day, look at how quickly this all happened. And if you look at the nature of, disease, it could happen again in the fall. It could happen again 2 years from now. So it's like, what goes in? And I go back to the state, because at what point do you have to wait for the state to get their act together again? Because it usually takes longer. But you also may have some state commissions that are like, hey, you know what? We're good. Let's go.
So, Kev, how bad are you going to miss, how bad are you going to miss it in there? I mean, it could be 3-6 months. I mean, it could be it could be 4 weeks and things turn around. I mean, but how much, I know how.
Even though I can't speak to it, my last outing.
Oh, hey, we kind of swept that one. We kind of, wait a minute. Some of these disasters happen at the right time, and it does benefit a few people. I mean, so
unfortunately, legally, I can't speak to that. But no. So here's the thing.
Legally,
it's going to be a while, and I know that I had the Portland show that's now done. I know there's an overseas in May that I'm not counting on, and who knows? I mean, this is such uncharted territory, and I even got a thing through the ABC. They're talking about oh, can we set up online training or and so again, is that where we need to go? Do we go to the realm of maybe you find a cool commission where you say, hey, you know what? We want to put on 10 fights. We want to stream it online. We want to charge, $20 to whatever and have a doctor here and email. Well, no, but I'm saying more, is there a way to do it legit?
No, I know what you mean. There's already people going right now. They already got it going. Hey, they'll find a way. I was that was going to be one of my things. I mean, some of these guys are going to have their own little fight clubs going on down the line. I mean, this is, let's face it. Fuck. A majority of these fighters fight because they need that release. I mean, and they don't even have the gym. I mean, they're over there doing pull-ups on the door jams right now at home. You know what I mean? So a lot of them are going to need something to do. So it's going to be an interesting 2, 3, 4 months. Things are changing. Like you said, I mean, the shit could hit the fan in 3 days where none of us can do anything. And then, we're the last, sports are the last things, other than Brady leaving New England today and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But there's nothing, nothing's really going to outshine, the terrible times and what's going on out there.
Right. But then you look at the other side of things where who's to say, if we go another full 2 weeks and nobody's seen anyone they know getting real sick and nobody's seen that's one thing that, with this country is terrifying, because then it's at what point is someone screw this, we're going to the bar.
Yeah.
Is someone screw this, everybody, we'll meet at the gym, I'm opening, I got the keys, I'm opening.
Well, you know what? It already happened today.
And then does that explode?
I mean, the field right down the street from my house, the basketball courts, the field was mobbed with kids and families today walking on the track, playing basketball out there. And, people are complaining about it, but it isn't like martial law. I mean, what are the cops supposed to do? How do they enforce that? Where's the line here? Because there's going to be a lot of that happening as this gets worse. So, kids are out of school, but they're out there. And I mean, who's to say you can't go out? I mean, oh my God,
Right.
So, hey,
who's to say that someone doesn't hook up with, whether it's a friendly commission or whatever, Like if this is kind of the new normal for a while, who's to say that someone doesn't, find a way to digitally submit all the meds, and then, I mean, really, if you have officials, a commission member, EMTs in a truck, a doctor, technically you could run, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly. Think out of the box.
Does someone at that point say, to a commission who's like, hey, you know what? There might be a buck a year, or there might be, there's ways to figure this stuff out.
MMA will find a way. And what I told, Lars and Travis, we had, we're working on that big website, and we were going to launch that around Cage Titans. We were going to launch this website, but now we got to hold it back because there's not going to be much going on. But what I told them is, with the time off, we can develop, we can learn things. Same thing with you guys. I mean, same thing you're talking about. People have the opportunity. I mean, you're not going to be able to do much more to learn and, perfect your craft. If, it's hard for fighters, but you can still do it mentally and, a little bit of physical stuff out there. But, as far as us and media and you as officials and commissions, everyone can get together and get busy. I mean, you're going to be bored anyway. Fucking get together and get shit together and create stuff and make it better for when it does get back to the mainstream and we get firing again. We don't have to be, we could be ahead of the curve and, really take off from there, because this could be, I mean, everything happens for a reason. I mean, it sucks right now but this could be something good down the line that made people stronger and made them learn and smarter and develop ways to survive, Yeah,
and this could be the time that someone figures out some weird way, because, again, you look at it, one of the biggest barriers to entry in this sport for promoting is the financial risk. And who's to say that somebody doesn't figure out, over the next few months, like, hey, here's a way to do this that falls within the state regulations, where we don't have to rent a big giant building, where people are cool, on board, and you don't have to charge $20 or $30. Like, you could jump on there and for $2 see your buddy fight.
Exactly.
If that was good, then you get the next one or whatever. Like, maybe it's like a token based thing, or like there's all kinds of different ways. And again, you don't need a giant field. You don't need like all these kind of things. People always love to watch two guys fight, or girls. Like,
exactly. It was proven Saturday. You don't need that crowd, a roaring crowd. You could pipe that in anyway. I mean, they do it on fucking TV. They do it anyway. They put that shit in. So.
Well, even like when I was I did the Fedor fight in Japan in January, and it was like, I don't know, 16,000, 18,000 people, sold out, jammed, Saitama Super Arena, and it's silent when you're in there, and it's strange because as referee, like, I'm hearing the floorboards, I'm hearing the corner person talk to the other corner person, like, I'm hearing conversations between like the timekeeper and the scorekeeper, like you're hearing all this stuff that. And someone like takes a guy down or something, and there's some clapping, then it's right back to silence. And it was such a strange thing. And then that was even when we were watching, the UFC in Brasilia, similar situation. Yeah. Like the whole silent. And that's one of the things I love about it, because at the end of the day, does it change the fight? Like the crowd? Sure. But should you be able to perform, whether it's at altitude, at sea level, in front of a crowd, not in front of a crowd, at a sound stage, outdoors, there's so many different things that can affect, and there you go.
Exactly. Well, Kev, man, I appreciate coming on quarantine time, and, giving the insight and letting us know that, what your thoughts on, talking about everything to do with, the cards and stuff like that. So, Khabib happening? Khabib and, you would already know you would already know if you're working that card, right?
I was not slated for New York card, because they did the November one or something. Like, Kim likes to rotate. And so I know that I was not assigned to that. I can say, assigned to the Portland, Oregon card, which got canceled. But I'm seeing that the New York card is all done, at least in New York. So they're going to have to float that barge or talk to Elon Musk.
It's going to be interesting. Well, the memes will be on fire. They're all over the place. I mean, so, I'm having fun with whatever I can have fun with it. I mean, I got to keep it going, Kevin. I mean, there's no one else really. There's not much to cover. So week by week, I'm going to have fun, talk about what they're going on, how they're trying. We're seeing these fighters doing a lot of social media, live videos, doing their routines right from their homes back to the fighters and their customers. I mean, they're finding the way. So everybody will, and we'll get together as a community, and somebody will get something going, and we'll get back on track. So Kevin, man, always a pleasure. Always great to talk to you, man. Thanks so much for coming on and giving us a few minutes of your time.
Of course, brother. Anytime.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you. See, we'll go back and forth on Messenger, all that other stuff, bro. Hey, look for that check, man. That check's coming, man. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when it passes by me. I'll see all them same envelopes, like trays and trays of them. And I might, you never know what tray I'm going to cough on either, so. All right, Kevin, get out of here.
All right, take care.
All right, later. All right. Kevin McDonald, out. All right, let me put my little thing on here. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. There it is. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if how good the sound was and stuff like that. Some people were telling me that there was a couple of issues going on. But I got a couple of things to talk about before I let you people go. I just want to thank Kevin McDonald for coming on. We talked about it a few days ago, about coming on, talking about what's going on, what he thinks is, what's going on with MMA. And what Kevin said is, they might say it's good to go, but by the time it gets to us and everyone gets their shit together and it trickles down and they finally get to MMA and letting it, go again, it could be a while. And Kevin seems to think it's not going to be, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but around springtime until it's all said and done and we're running again regularly. So not to put a damper on, and I didn't mean to, on the Neff card or the No Boundary card. I'm just saying, I think both of them cards are in April 18th, around there, Friday and Saturday, they're both Saturday. And, I'm just letting you know that's a high possibility that card might not go on. And I hope it does, because if it does, we'll launch the website then. So let me take a last sip of my beer and just show you a couple of things that I want to throw out there for you before I let you go. As far as gyms out there, important gyms that not only give MMA training out to, professionals, amateurs, but also every walks of life. These gyms, this is their life. This is what they do. This is how they make their income. They don't get TDI. They don't get unemployment when the gym closes. They got to depend on their savings and depend on monthly dues and stuff like that. So with that said, there's been a couple of things out. Let me make this bigger. There it is. About gyms and not canceling your membership. And I'm very focused on helping them out with this, whatever they need as far as getting the word out there. Do not, I repeat, they're saying terrible reception. Something's going on. So I repeat, do not cancel your gym membership. Please do not cancel it. This is, how's this sound? I think it was echoing when I left. That's the problem. So these gyms make their money on monthly memberships, personal training, all that stuff. So they're forced to think out of the box. I'm seeing a lot of trainers, a lot of MMA fighters, a lot of Muay Thai fighters doing online stuff. So do not cancel your membership. It could be only a month that these gyms are closed. and then they'll reopen, and then you'll need a place to go to again. They're still motivating you. They are still helping you out. They are still there. And if you need to cancel your membership or delay it in some way, talk to your coach, talk to your gym, and maybe you can work something out that you don't have to cancel it all the way, and you may be able to, just put it on hold or pay half. I don't know. I don't want to, tell them what to do. But yeah, when Kevin hung up, I had both mics on. So sorry. So please do not cancel your gym memberships. And I'm not talking about WOW. I'm not talking about Planet Fitness, where you're paying $19 a month, $10 a month. I'm talking about these gyms that you go to, that you're there 4 or 5 times a week, that you're doing classes with a bunch of other people, camaraderie, people that your family now, people that you go do MMA with, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all that stuff. They need you more than ever. I mean, some of these are second homes to you people. Some of these are your only homes. Some of these people brought you in when you had nowhere else to go. And right now, some of them are in the same situation, and the gym is all they have. So keep your memberships. Maybe donate something to them. Help them along. They're trying out there. So with that said, that's about it. I just want to, elaborate on how difficult a situation this is on all people involved in MMA, just not in MMA, but that's what I focus on in every walk of life, every job, everything out there. There's a bunch of bad things going on for you. So with that said, thanks for tuning in. I will be back next week. I don't know who's going to be on. But we'll have a fighter on. I'll have a couple of fighters on. Or, you want to come in the room, hang out with me, drink a beer, take a load off, get this coronavirus and drink a Corona on me, and talk MMA, because we got nothing better to do than talk it, because we aren't going to fight it anytime soon. So with that said, thank you for tuning in. Follow me on Ambassador of the Fighters, Facebook, Instagram, and on the web at ambassadorfighters.com. Follow New England MMA on Facebook. We got a group page there. And we do have a website that we're going to be launching, but we don't want to do it right now. We're just perfecting it. We're making it incredibly, incredibly perfect. So when we do launch, it's going to be something that you're desperately going to need. And I'm going to stay here every week. I'm still going to be posting. I'm still going to be talking and giving you information on everything that's going on with MMA in New England and sometimes beyond. So with that said, thank you so much. We out.